Many of you, like myself, are gearing up for Wuthering Waves releasing in just 4 days. Or is it 3 days? 4 days? 3? I don't know, one of those two. But the main audience that I want to speak to today is going to be primarily my free-to-play audience, or if you're like me and you want to optimize everything possible from the very beginning of the game to the middle/end of the game, probably want to listen to what I'm saying. Most of you, maybe that's not fair to say, some of you, a good majority of you, the vocal majority of you, will be coming from Genshin Impact or the rejected Genshin Impact audience, those that are pretty much like me, where we wanted some in-game content from Genshin Impact and we did not get that, but you are playing it anyway. I'm not playing Genshin Impact. All of that in mind, Wuthering Waves might kind of be a free-to-play trap for free-to-play. That sentence doesn't make sense, so just scratch that. In order for me to explain this, I have to explain from all 3 different perspectives. There's a perspective of Starro, Genshin Impact, and then of course Punishing Gray Raven. Punishing Gray Raven is the easiest for me to explain, but it is the most strict. Fellow PGR players can correct me if I'm wrong, but during year 1, that was hell. Year 1 of PGR was some of the most grindy, I don't really want to do this, but I love the gameplay and everything else about it possible. I really don't know how to explain it besides you had to have experienced it. And it was not fun. I mean, the gameplay was fun. Everything else about it wasn't fun. And so during year 1 of PGR, teams really didn't feel like teams. There were clearly the characters that were OP or over the top, and these over the top characters meant that I could pretty much play the game with just this character and call it a day. That eventually and quickly devolved into I really don't need to pull for any other characters. That led crew into making some bad financial decisions, blah, 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 blah. But I'm not here to talk about their finances specifically. I'm more so pointing at the fact that when we got our hands on PGR during year 1, there were some things that we were not aware of that we probably should have been aware of because they ended up coming true, or rather into fruition later on in the game. That thing being weapons, gear, teams, all the stuff that Genshin Impact players refuse to acknowledge is probably normal in other gacha games, but in their gacha game, it's not normal at all. And I can explain Genshin in a very easy manner. Genshin is the easiest gacha game that a lot of people seem to, you know, they love the game. It's cool, it's whatever, but you don't need to pull a single weapon in Genshin Impact. Not only is the weapon banner ass, but you really just can do everything with the free weapons, 3-star weapons. You can fish up some of the best weapons in the game. There's a lot of different things that make Genshin Impact good and great at what it is. And by no means am I saying that having free-to-play options in a game is bad. What I'm saying is you, that vocal majority of Genshin Impact players that I mentioned at the beginning of this video, cannot assume every other game is going to be as generous as Genshin Impact, at least when it comes to the weapons. As of right now, Wuthering Waves has confirmed that we're getting a bunch of stuff on release day, launch night if you're here in the US, Tuesday night, 9 p.m. for me or something like that, 6 p.m., whatever it is. Anyway, point being is that we're getting that. Not only are we getting the 20 standard pulls from the pre-registration rewards, but we're also going to get 10 standard pulls and 10 limited pulls on top of that from the special broadcast program that just happened. We'll also have a 5-day login bonus giving us more pulls. And whenever you upgrade to, I believe they're going to keep it the same, but Union level 45, you're going to get a free 5-star weapon of your choice. We're getting multiple free 4-star characters, which in this game, similar to the other games, 4 stars pack a lot of punch. And in Wuthering Waves, it is skill over the character most of the time. And for the final comparison, I have Honkai Star Rail, which I am known as the light cone connoisseur, the grandeur of light cones, the promoter, if you will, right? I'm gonna sell you a like. With that in mind, keep that with a grain of salt. I was right, simple as that. Star Rail had a very important factor, which being the light cones. They gave you certain things in the game that I called out very early on, why these were important. Star Rail has a thing where you can use your jade glitter or star glitter, the currency that you get after summoning for a character, you get dupes. You can use that to then buy a standard 5-star light cone for whatever characters that you want. And I mentioned that this would be more important than getting characters. Most of the community did not listen to me, and then they ended up regretting it later on, where they don't have light cone options, or a character like Acheron, for instance, came out and you needed her best light cones, which were gacha light cones, which means you have to pull on the gacha light cone banner because there's no other way for you to get that unless you just get really lucky and you get it from the character banner. So Sorrow's kind of in the middle between PGR and Genshin Impact. And I feel like Wuthering Waves is going to sit right there in the middle between Star Rail and PGR. So Genshin's just gone out of the window at this point, right? And the reason that I say that is simply because Wuthering Waves makes every point clear for you to get any weapon that you want, a limited weapon or standard weapon, whatever the case may be. They also make it very clear that you don't have to stress about building up multiple gear sets, or at least not right now. In Tower of Adversity, I can't say this word, Tower of Adversity, in Tower of Adversity. Thank you. Fuck. Something that I have not seen any gacha game do, to my knowledge, is going to allow you to swap gear sets in between cycles. You're basically going to have 3 teams. You need 3 fully built teams, or at least mostly built teams, within this tower, the in-game mode, in order to successfully go through the entire thing. So think of Spiral Abyss, but instead of 2 teams, you need 3 teams. Or if you're from Star Rail, think of MOC, but instead of 2 teams, you need 3 teams. Now you add another stipulation on top of that. The next stipulation is going to be the fact that you have a point system, which is similar to PGR's point system, if I'm not mistaken, where you can only use X character throughout this entire in-game mode during that one session that you have. You can use this character X amount of times. Maybe the point system is capped at 2 or 3, which means you can only use this character in succession 2 times or 3 times, whatever the case may be. I'll know more about that once we get Tower of Adversity in our hands, and I can fully go over that. And the reason I say that is because it could have changed from CBT2 to release. So until that happens, I'm not going to make any definite claims on this particular change. But we do have the confirmation of the weapon banner. We have the confirmation of the character banner, the weapon selector, character selector, all the pulls that we're going to be getting, and the free characters that we're going to be getting. In Wuthering Waves, we not only have the same thing as the Star Glitter to allow us to choose a standard 5-star weapon, but we also have that ability to pick up Eidolons or constellations. In this game, I believe they're called sequences, but you have the ability to pick up copies of whatever character that you want, limited or standard. Limited, of course, is going to be during the limited banner, which is huge for a game like this. In PGR, duplicates of a character really help complete a character, and in some situations make a character go from what would have been decent or standard to leagues beyond better. On the other end of that, some characters are just not usable unless you have a certain amount of dupes. I don't believe Wuthering Waves is going to follow this path exactly, but the fact that they allow us to do that and it's in the game does mean something. A very key rule that I like to go by is that Toyo is smart. They don't put anything in the game for no reason. Just like in the beginning of Star Rail, when people were confused about effect hit rate, and a lot of people looked at it as a useless stat. And here we are a year later, where effect hit rate is one of the most important stats for some of the other characters. So I like to go in thinking Kuro is similar, where they're not going to give us a free weapon selector, the ability to have a 100% guaranteed limited banner, a better 50-50 on the characters, and a little bit of a higher pity rate. There's a lot about Wuthering as far as that goes that really dictates what we should start looking at when it comes to team building, or at least the characters that you're looking to build. I say all this to say that most free-to-play players love collecting characters, and I get it. I love waifus too, some of the husbandos, but I don't think Wuthering is going to be a gotta catch them all, a gotta collect them all. It's definitely a gotta catch them all because the ecosystem with the Pokemon, but I mean that for characters. I don't think this game is going to be one of those games where you have to collect, where you feel the need to collect every single character. In fact, the game punishes you for collecting a bunch of characters, at least early on, without spending money. Thanks to Rivenus, Rivenus has given us what would be a speculation of how much time it would take you to build a character, 5-star or 4-star, how much time it would take you to build the gear, a 5-star weapon or a 4-star weapon, the equivalent of trace materials or essential materials, all this stuff. And the short answer is that this will take you anywhere between 40 to 60 days in order to completely build just one character. And the 40 to 60 days is basically the conversion of how much stamina you would have to use. You only get 240. The stamina rate right now, or the recovery rate, is pretty ass in my opinion, or 1 stamina every 6 minutes, which means 240 stamina. It would take you a full 24 hours to recover said stamina. I don't think we have an overcap right now, so you're definitely going to want to never let this cap, because you don't get any extra after that. You're pretty much wasting stamina at that point. And if it takes you the equivalent of 40 to 60 days to be able to use this stamina to build up a full character, and most of you are going to be aiming for 3, then you really don't have time to sit there and collect all the characters and then somehow build all of the characters and make them efficient enough to be doing whatever it is that you're doing. I feel like right now, Wuthering Waves, from here this point forward, and a little bit maybe after a couple patches, we'll have more resources, who knows, but right now it does feel like it's going to be a one-man team until we get to Tower of Adversity. And I don't think getting to that tower is going to be something that people do in the first week. Obviously the diehard players, the whales, will get there, but your casual player, the one who's playing the game, having a good time, all that kind of stuff, I don't think you're going to get to the tower in a week or even a month for that matter. You might, but now that takes a lot less stress off of you, and it allows you to build your team, build your characters, and focus properly on optimizing your account if that's what you care about. If you don't care about this stuff, it's cool. You don't have to worry about everything that I just said for the last 10 minutes. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you don't care about optimizing your account, if you want to treat it like a collect them all and you just want to have fun, you can do that. But if you're looking at this and you don't want to waste resources, you don't want to be in that situation where it's like, dang, I have a bunch of level 40 characters. I can't take anyone to level 70. What do I do? How do I get more resources? And you unfortunately find out it's going to take you 2 to 3 months to get these resources to take that one character from level 40 to level 90 or level 70, whatever it is that you're aiming for. You might drop the game. I've been there plenty of times. I turn on Genshin, I turn it back off. As soon as I realize that I have to go grind for something and it's split between days and weeks and whatever else, I turn the game off and I go play Elden Ring. I got the katana and it's sick as fuck. Too bad I couldn't actually use it because it required 23 fucking intelligence. Now I ain't fight that flaming. Finally, I want to end this video off by letting you guys know that you don't have to stress about whatever 5-star you're looking for. We have confirmation of this thanks to the live stream that just happened, with basically 35 pulls. By the time you get to level 5, you will have 35 standard pulls blessed into your account. You get the other 5 from hitting level 5, something like that. So you'll have 35. The pity banner, the beginner banner, is 50 pulls total, but it's at a reduced rate, which basically means 40 pulls. These 40 pulls means that once you hit 40 pulls, you'll be able to get your 5-star. Even if you had the worst of luck like myself, you're gonna get it at the 5 or the 40th pull, you'll get your 5-star. Now here's the thing that I recommend, and I'll have my own, I'm gonna have a whole reroll guide coming out right before the game comes out. Point being is that I recommend you grab or aim for your DPS character out of that beginner banner. I know people are gonna tell you go for Verena. Don't do Verena. The reason I'm telling you don't do Verena is because you could get your DPS character from the beginner pity, have as much fun as you want because damage is fun. You're actively playing with your main driver, your main DPS. So of course they're gonna have the most field time. Verena will not have the most field time. And yeah, she'll help you with your 4-star characters, but why not just grab Verena from the 80 pity that's gonna take you that 30 or 40 days to get to the 80 pity if you're the most unlucky like me. And then you could just pick up Verena on top of your main DPS character that you already have. By this point, you would have already had limited banner pulls and you would have been able to get a limited character or at least hit pity for one of the limited banners and then grab Yinlin or Caltro, whatever it is that you're aiming for in the beginning. Or you can save up for the next character. And I would tell you guys to save up for the limited banner on the weapon and then just grab that for your main DPS if you plan on getting Jian or Yinlin. But I know that's a really hot take for the gacha community and you guys just are not used to pulling on weapon banners like the PGR community is. So I'm gonna leave that for another video. Moral of this story, have fun, but be smart about it. Guys, if you enjoyed today's video, do leave a like, comment down below, all that fun stuff. I will be dropping more Wuthering Waves content on the channel. And you know, come watch me live on twitch.tv/IYOKUU. I don't know why I did this with my fingers. Like, I'm not spelling my name when I do that. I'm just whisking around like the Disney, you know, the Disney one with the smell you later.